To understand Kim Kardashian's psychology fully, we must explore her resilience under constant public scrutiny. Life in the spotlight is an environment of unrelenting pressure, critique, and expectation. From early exposure on reality television to social media scrutiny, every action, appearance, and word is analyzed. Psychologically, enduring this requires a highly developed framework for emotional regulation. Kim has learned to interpret feedback without internalizing unnecessary negativity. She filters criticism, absorbs lessons, and deflects baseless attacks, preserving her mental equilibrium. This skill is not innate. It is forged through experience, repetition, and conscious strategy. Her relationship with attention is fascinating. Kim does not merely seek visibility, she orchestrates it. Psychologists call this attentional calibration, the ability to manipulate focus, timing, and content to optimize engagement. Every public appearance, Instagram post, and product launch is carefully designed to maximize impact. She understands that attention is both finite and fungible. By controlling the narrative, she controls perception. This requires cognitive sophistication, the ability to anticipate audience response, predict media cycles, and modulate self-presentation to maintain influence without overexposure. Closely linked is her mastery of narrative framing. Humans interpret reality through stories, and Kim has constructed narratives that resonate emotionally. She blends vulnerability with aspiration, relatability with exclusivity, and personal authenticity with brand storytelling. This narrative complexity allows audiences to project themselves onto her life, creating emotional investment that extends beyond superficial admiration. Psychologically, this demonstrates her deep understanding of how meaning, identity, and emotion interact in the human mind. Another pillar of her psychology is strategic emotional disclosure. Kim selectively reveals aspects of her personal life, struggles, relationships, milestones, to generate engagement, humanize her image, and control narrative framing. She has learned that public vulnerability, when managed strategically, enhances relatability without eroding authority. This delicate balance requires emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and foresight. She knows when revealing emotion strengthens influence and when discretion preserves power. Her entrepreneurial cognition continues to distinguish her. Beyond cosmetic and fashion ventures, Kim exhibits pattern recognition, market intuition, and predictive insight. She understands cultural currents, anticipates trends, and leverages timing to amplify influence. Psychologically, this reflects high-level executive functioning, complex problem-solving, risk assessment, scenario planning, and adaptive thinking. Her businesses are not reactive. They are proactive responses to cultural, social, and economic landscapes, demonstrating foresight grounded in observation and analysis. Family dynamics also shape her psychology. Growing up as part of a high-profile family, Kim navigated complex relationships, competition, and public attention. This cultivated skills in conflict resolution, negotiation, and emotional adaptability. She learned early to manage interpersonal tension, maintain composure under scrutiny, and adapt behavior to shifting dynamics. Psychologists might describe this as advanced social-emotional intelligence, a combination of empathy, perspective-taking, and self-regulation that allows her to function effectively in both public and private spheres. Kim's relationship with self-image is both conscious and strategic. She treats her physical presence as a form of communication, an extension of identity and influence. This requires cognitive self-monitoring, aesthetic judgment, and embodiment awareness. Every gesture, outfit, or posture conveys subtle messages. Psychologically, this is an interplay between identity expression, social signaling, and personal empowerment. Her image is curated not to deceive, but to communicate intent, status, and narrative alignment with personal and professional goals. Central to her psychology is adaptive coping mechanisms. In a world of scrutiny, she has developed strategies for managing stress, fatigue, and criticism. This includes routines, delegating cognitive load, selective exposure to information, and strategic pauses from public attention. Her coping is anticipatory, not reactive. She plans for pressure, structures downtime, and maintains psychological hygiene. Such mechanisms are essential for sustained performance in high-stakes, high-visibility environments. Her relationship with social influence is sophisticated. She understands both social conformity and differentiation. She cultivates trends while maintaining distinctiveness. This balance allows her to lead cultural movements without becoming derivative. Psychologically, she leverages social proof, scarcity, and aspirational psychology, creating a feedback loop where influence begets further influence. Her cognitive strategy integrates both cultural literacy and audience psychology, ensuring enduring relevance. Kim's relationship with failure and critique is instructive. Public life involves repeated scrutiny, mistakes, and misinterpretation. Her psychological framework treats failure not as identity threat but as data, insight into audience perception, content efficacy, and brand resonance. By decoupling self-worth from external opinion, she preserves resilience, learns from experience, and strategically adapts. This reflects growth mindset principles, viewing challenges as opportunities for learning, rather than fixed limitations on identity. A critical element of her cognitive style is self-reflection paired with strategic adaptation. She constantly evaluates decisions, actions, and outcomes, integrating lessons into future planning. This metacognitive approach allows for continuous improvement in self-presentation, business strategy, and relational navigation. It demonstrates a high degree of self-awareness, foresight, and analytical reasoning, key elements in psychological mastery of attention, influence, and personal agency. Her psychology also reflects complex motivation structures. She integrates intrinsic drives, personal achievement, creative expression, identity consolidation, with extrinsic motivators such as public recognition, wealth accumulation, and cultural impact. This dual-layer motivation allows sustained engagement even under stress, scrutiny, or fatigue. It is not merely desire-driven, it is purpose-aligned, reflecting conscious goal orientation and long-term planning. Kim's approach to risk, exposure, and vulnerability demonstrates strategic emotional intelligence. She reveals just enough personal information to maintain relatability while preserving boundaries essential for self-protection. She navigates the tension between transparency and privacy with precision, a balance that protects both her emotional stability and brand integrity. Psychologically, this is emotional boundary management, the conscious regulation of disclosure to optimize influence while minimizing harm. Her public influence is reinforced by her mastery of micro-interactions, engagement with fans, collaborators, and media personalities. Each interaction is calibrated to reinforce perception, strengthen relationships, and amplify network effects. Psychologists might describe this as applied social network theory, understanding relational dynamics, leveraging influence nodes, and reinforcing desired patterns of perception and behavior. Creativity is another psychological cornerstone. Kim integrates visual aesthetics, cultural narrative, and product innovation into cohesive expressions that resonate emotionally. Creativity here is not mere artistry, it is problem-solving, influence amplification, and identity reinforcement. It demonstrates cognitive integration of multiple domains: perception, emotion, social dynamics, and strategic foresight. Family and motherhood also shape her cognitive emotional framework. Balancing parental responsibilities with public life cultivates executive functioning, prioritization, and emotional compartmentalization. She navigates competing demands, scheduling pressures, and high-stakes decisions with deliberate cognitive control. These experiences reinforce resilience, adaptability, and strategic thinking. Her attention to feedback is highly adaptive. She monitors both quantitative and qualitative cues from audiences, collaborators, and media outlets, integrating insights into iterative adjustments of self-presentation, product offerings, and public engagement. Psychologically, this reflects a combination of observational learning, social intelligence, and cognitive flexibility. A subtle yet profound aspect of her psychology is identity as narrative construction. She actively shapes how she is perceived, aligning self-concept with projected image. This requires cognitive synthesis, integrating personal history, aspirations, audience perception, and cultural trends into coherent narratives. Psychologists might see this as advanced narrative identity, a mechanism that enhances psychological coherence, resilience, and social influence simultaneously. Even her decision-making under uncertainty reflects strategic sophistication. Public actions, business initiatives, and personal disclosures are informed by probabilistic reasoning, audience modeling, and long-term forecasting. She balances intuitive judgment with analytical reasoning, achieving adaptive outcomes in complex, dynamic social environments. Her psychology also includes meticulous time management and habit structure. Daily routines, sleep cycles, professional scheduling, and content planning create cognitive scaffolding that reduces decision fatigue and supports sustained high-level functioning. Habit formation ensures consistent execution, reinforces self-discipline, and preserves attention for high-priority tasks. Finally, her legacy-oriented cognition frames long-term decision-making. Beyond ephemeral fame, she considers impact, cultural resonance, and enduring influence. This orientation reflects forward-looking, meaning-centered psychology. Decisions are filtered through lenses of significance, contribution, and influence, reinforcing both personal satisfaction and societal impact. In conclusion, the psychology of Kim Kardashian is a composite of resilience, social intelligence, self-presentation mastery, cognitive flexibility, emotional regulation, entrepreneurial insight, risk calculation, attention management, narrative construction, motivation, and legacy-oriented thinking. Her mind operates as an integrated system that synthesizes perception, emotion, cognition, and culture. She demonstrates how strategic self-awareness, psychological sophistication, and adaptability can transform visibility into influence, attention into impact, and identity into both personal and societal meaning. Kim Kardashian is not simply a celebrity, she is a living example of applied psychology in a complex social ecosystem. To understand her is to understand the mechanics of influence, the architecture of attention, the strategies of resilience, and the nuanced interplay of identity and perception. Her psychology exemplifies the integration of cognitive, emotional, and social intelligence at the highest levels. It is a case study in modern human behavior, demonstrating how skillful navigation of perception, culture, and identity can create sustained influence, wealth, and legacy.